Hello everyone, welcome to RDCS tutorials. In today's lecture, we are going to discuss one of the most important topics in database management system called keys. Okay, keys in DBMS. The keys are used to identify records uniquely and establish the relationship between the tables. In this lecture, we will discuss super key, candidate key, primary key, alternate key, foreign key with simple real-time examples. This topic is very important for UGC NET, PG set and other set exams and interviews. Okay. Before learning different types of keys, let us understand why keys are needed. Imagine a college database containing a thousands of students. Okay, there is one college database is there. Imagine there is a college database. It is a college database containing how many students. There is thousands of students are there in a college database. Many students may have the same name. Okay, many may have some same names. For example, there is some name is there, Navya, and same these name is repeated student names like Navya. So the name is repeated. If we search only by the name, the database cannot determine which student record is required because the one Navya is there and two Navyas is there. If I want to search only by the name, the database will get confused. It determines which student record is required. Therefore, we need a unique identifier. This unique identifier we call as a key. Key help the database identify the records without confusion and maintain the accuracy. The keys will determine it identify records without confusion and it maintains the accuracy. Okay. It identify why keys, it identify the records uniquely, it avoid the duplicate records, it maintain the data accuracy. The accuracy means there is a correctness is there. It create the relationship between the tables. Okay. So we'll give one real-time example says there is some college students are there. Here I'm taking three examples. The college students, the first name is Navya and second name is Navya and third name is also Navya. There are three Navyas are there in a college students database. There are some rule numbers are there for three 101, 102 and 103. These are the rule numbers. First name Navya, the rule number is 101. Second name Navya, the rule number is 102. And the third name Navya, the rule number is 103. Even though names are the same, these three names are same. Even though the names are same, the rule numbers are what? Here the rule numbers are different. But each and every name they has a unique rule number is there. Okay, here name is there and rule number. There are two columns are there. Name and rule number. So your name they have some duplication value, so we cannot identify as a key. So here rule number it has a unique values. Therefore, the rule number act as a key for this example. Okay. Then what is key? So we will discuss the definition. A key is an attribute or a set of attributes is used to identify a record uniquely. Keys, it is an attribute or the combination of set of attributes. It is used to identify a record. The data. Record is nothing but the data identified uniquely. Okay, a record in a database table. In simple word, a key acts like an identity card. Okay, here in simple words, we can say a key as act like a identity card. So each and every person they have some identity is there based on their identity card, we can identify the person details. Just like every citizen has a unique Aadhaar number, right? Every citizen has some unique Aadhaar number. Every record in database can be identified using a key. Without key, the database cannot efficiently locate the record. Okay, in simple words, a key act like an identity card. For example, each and every citizen has a unique Aadhaar number that every record in database can be identified using the keys. Okay, I will give one real time example here. The person name, the Ravi is there. Person name is Ravi. Their Aadhaar number is some digit is there. So here, even if thousands of people have the same name, okay, in the citizen, in the this crores of people, the same name is possible, right? The same name is possible. So even if these thousands and lakhs of people have the same name Ravi, and the Aadhaar number uniquely identifies what this Aadhaar number is, uniquely identifies the one person. Okay, it is nothing but the key. So there is one example is there. We will use this student table throughout the lecture. Okay, our overall content, the example is student table example. So here how many columns are there? In the first video I already discussed this, we call as an attributes. The column names are nothing but the attributes and the rows names are nothing but the tuples. Yes, so what is your attribute? Column name, rule number, name, and mobile number. Notice the rule number and mobile number are different for every student. Yes, here the student 101 Ravi and the rule number and the mobile number is different. And here 102 Harsha, their rule number and mobile number is different. And 103 Saranj, their rule number and Aadhaar number is different. These attributes, so it is the rule number and mobile number, these attributes, these attributes can help us uniquely identify a student. Using the table, we will understand different types of keys. Okay, so using rule number, we can identify the person. Using mobile number also, we can identify the person. This is nothing but the key. It is uniquely identifying the other records. Okay. Now, first key, super key. An attribute or a combination of attribute that uniquely identify a record is nothing but a key. So, there are different types of keys are there. That is super key. There are some examples are there in a super key. Super key is the broadest category of keys. Okay. A super key is a broadest category of keys. An attribute or a group of attributes that can uniquely identify a record is called a super key. A super key may contain extra attributes also. Okay, it may contain extra attributes also. A super key may contain extra attributes also. May contain extra attributes also. As long as the record can be identified uniquely, it is considered as a super key. Whenever the record is identified uniquely, it is considered as a super key. Okay, examples, rule number, mobile number. So extra attributes are there. Rule number along with the name, we can call it as a super key. Rule number along with mobile also, we can call it as a super key. Okay, the key, any attribute or a combination of attributes that uniquely identify a record, we call as a super key. Okay, I will give one real time example. Suppose your teacher asks, who is student rule number 101? We can identify the student we can identify the student based on their rule number 101. And now teacher asks, who is student rule number 101 and name Ravi. Again, we can identify the student name, right, along with the name and the rule number. So both here rule number is super key and rule number plus name is also nothing but a super key. So both are, so however, the second one contain extra information. Here it is already a key, and the second column we are call it as a extra information, an extra attribute. Okay. The next one is candidate key. So candidate key among all super keys, some contain extra attributes, right? The database try to avoid that unnecessary extra information. Therefore, only the minimal super keys are selected. These minimal super keys are called a candidate keys. The minimal super key is nothing but the candidate key. In a super key, there is some extra unnecessary information is there. The database is trying to avoid that unnecessary information, that will take only the minimal super keys are selected. These minimal super key are called a candidate. Okay, what is the definition of candidate key? A candidate key is uniquely identify a record and contains no extra attributes. It identify the what? It identifies the record and contains, in a super key it contains extra information, but in candidate key it contains no extra information. No extra no extra information. Okay, no extra information. So no unnecessary attributes. Okay, so we'll give an example here. So what is that? The rule number 101, there is one rule number attribute 101. Mobile number is some mobile number is there. Both can identify the student uniquely. Therefore, these both we call as a candidate key. Okay, these we call as a candidate key. Rule number plus name is not a candidate because the rule number is uniquely identified, but the name is not uniquely identified because the same person can get same name. But here mobile number, each and every person the mobile number is different, and each and every student the rule number is also different. So rule number plus name is not a candidate. It is what? It is a super key. It is an extra information is there. The candidate key because name is unnecessary here. Whenever take rule number plus mobile number, then we call as a candidate key. Okay, are you getting my point? So here we will discuss what is the difference between the super key and candidate key. This is very important comparison. Every candidate key is a super key, but every super key is not a candidate key. You need to remember this point. It is very, very important for UGC NET and TGSET. Every what? Every candidate key Every candidate key is a super key, but every super key is not a candidate key. Okay, but every super key is not a candidate. Candidate keys are what? Candidate keys are minimals. Okay, remember this word minimals or minimal. The candidate key is a minimal. The super key may contain the additional information. Super key may contain the additional information. Super key may contain extra attributes, that is nothing but extra information. There is no extra attributes. The minimal super key is nothing but the candidate key. So we'll give an example here. The rule number, there is one table is there, student table is there. In that there is one column is there, rule number. There is one rule number column is there. Here, rule number is nothing but the candidate key, and one more column is there, rule number plus name. So here rule number plus name is nothing but the super key. Okay. Now, next one is the primary key. This is very, very important. Now, let us discuss the most important key in DBMS, that is primary key. So, when multiple candidate keys are available, in one table, there is multiple candidate keys are available. For example, there is one table is there. Okay, here rule number is there. Okay, rule number rule number rule number, name, and here Aadhaar ID is there. Okay, rule number and name and Aadhaar. The name, we can repeat the names are repeated, but the rule number and Aadhaar card number is unique number. So here, how many candidates keys are there? Here rule number is one candidate key. Why rule number is candidate key? We are using these attribute, we can uniquely identify the other records. Using Aadhaar card number also, we can uniquely identify the another record. So here, when the two multiple candidate keys are there, when the two multiple candidate keys are available in one table, so the candidate key is selected as the primary key. In between two candidate keys, you can select anyone as a primary key. So every record should have a unique primary key value. No two records can share the same primary key here. So here you can take rule number as a primary key, or if you take rule number as a primary key, Aadhaar number is a candidate key. If you take Aadhaar number is a primary key, the rule number is a candidate key. Okay. So one more example. There is some student details are there. The candidate keys are what in a student details? Rule number and Aadhaar number. There are two attributes are there, rule number and Aadhaar number. The college choose the primary key is equal to rule number. The rule number because becomes the official identity of the students. Okay. The rule number becomes the official identifier of the students. There is some characteristics are there for the primary key. What are the characteristics? A primary key must satisfy the set and rule. Okay, because satisfy the set and rule means the primary key is a unique one. First, it must be unique. The primary key, it should be unique. So it cannot contain the null values. It should remain the stable and should not change the frequently. Whenever we select as a primary key, their values cannot be changed frequently. The values should be stable. What is the first characteristic? The primary key should be unique. It cannot be null values and it should be stable. Stable means it should remain stable and should not change frequently. So finally, each table can have only one primary key. So in one table, how many primary keys we can assign? Only one primary key per table. Okay. Now, there is one employee table is there. Okay, here there is one employee table is there. Employee ID. Okay, here employee IDs details are there. So every employee IDs cannot be duplicated and cannot be empty. So if the employee is nothing but what, each and every employee there is some ID number is there, so we cannot keep as a empty as a employee ID. So here the employee ID cannot be duplicate and cannot be empty, so we can take as a primary key. So the next one is the alternate key. So what is alternate key? When one candidate key becomes the primary key, the remaining candidate keys are called the alternate key. So in every table, if it is uniquely identify the attribute, we call as a candidate key. So if there are multiple of candidate key as that, we can take one candidate key as a primary key and one more candidate key is there. That one more candidate key we called as a alternate. We called as a alternate key. The only difference is that they were not chosen as the primary key. Okay, the candidate key not selected as a primary key, then alternate key is equal to candidate key minus primary key. This is the formula. So what is the real time example? So there is, we already discussed the two attributes, rule number and other number. So if you take in rule number as a primary key, we are selecting from the candidate key. Then what is the alternate key? The other number is nothing but the alternate key. Okay. Now, what is the next one? Foreign key. So, what is the foreign key? Foreign key is one of the most important concepts in DBMS. The database usually contains the what? It contains multiple tables. So, in date, if you're talking with a database, only one table is present in the database. No, there are multiple records are there, multiple tables are there in a database. To connect these multiple tables, we use the foreign key. So what is the definition? A foreign key is an attribute in one table that refers to the primary key of another table. Okay, again I am telling the foreign key is what? It is one attribute and one in one table that refers to the primary key of another table. So there is one real-time example is the college database. So what is the college database? Student table is there, marks table. There are two records are there, student table and marks table. The student ID connects what? The student ID connects the both tables. How in a student table, student ID is there. In a marks table, so how many marks will get one particular student? Here also student ID is there. Okay, this we call as a foreign key. So there is one example is there here. The student table, student ID is there. There is some names are there, and here marks table is there. So look at these two tables. Students table stores what? Student details, and marks table stores what? Marks details. So the student ID in the marks table is refers to the student ID in the student table. The student ID in the marks table, it is referred to the student ID in the student table. Therefore, the student ID here, the student ID acts as a foreign key. Here, the student ID is act as a foreign key. Okay, this helps DBMS maintain the relationship between the tables. If you maintain the relationship between one table from another table, we are using which concept? We are using the foreign key tables. Okay. So one more example I will give you. What is that? So there is one Amazon is there. So we are taking the Amazon example. Consider Amazon customer table stores the customer information in Amazon website. Customer details we are storing. Customer table stores what? The customer table stores customer information. And order table stores what? Order information. And the customer ID, it connects the both tables. Using customer ID, Amazon can determine which customer placed the order. Yes, using this customer ID, the Amazon can determine which customer placed the order, and therefore the customer act as a primary key. So here customer information is there and here order details is there. In which based on this customer ID, we will get the customer information and we will get the order information. Here customer ID acts as a foreign key. Okay. So there is a comparison of all keys. Simple and we will remember this trick. The super key was the unique identifier. So uniquely identification of other records we called as a super key. The candidate key is nothing but the minimum, super key is nothing but the candidate key. So here super key, the extra information is there. But in a candidate key, there is no extra information. It is a minimal super key. What is the primary key? In a candidate key, we are selected only one is primary key and From where we are selecting the primary key? From the selected candidate key, we are selecting the primary key. So if there are two candidate keys, one we are selecting primary key and another we are remaining is nothing but the alternate key. What is the foreign key? The foreign key is nothing but the relationship between tables. It will establish the relationship between the tables. Understanding this hierarchy is very important for exams. Okay. So there is some important UGC NET MCQs are there. Which key cannot contain null values? Which key cannot contain null values? Remember this not. Not is very important in exams. Which key can contain null values and which key cannot contain null values? Here what is our question? Which key cannot contain null values? Cannot contain what? The primary key cannot contain null values. Okay. Which key establish the relationship between tables? Primary key, candidate key, foreign key. The relationship between the tables is nothing but the foreign key. Okay. These are frequently asked questions in UGC NET, TG set and other set university examinations. Try to understand the concept instead of memorizing the answers. Okay. Instead of memorizing the answers, try to understand the concept clearly. Okay, so in today's lecture we understood all important keys in DBMS. We learned super key, candidate key, primary key, alternate key and foreign key using student college and Amazon examples. These concepts from the foundation of relational database and are extremely important for UGC NET and TG set preparation. So thank you for watching this lecture. If you found this video useful, please like, share, comment and subscribe to RDCS tutorials. Keep learning and keep going. See you in the next video.